8:45 is the time right now. People across the Middle East, including thousands of U.S. troops deployed to the region, are waiting for a decision from President Trump about a proposal to end the war in Iran. The Strait of Hormuz has been largely shut down for weeks, disrupting global trade and raising concerns about energy prices, supply chains, and what's next in the Middle East. Joining us now is Aaron David Miller, Senior Fellow at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace and a longtime Middle East policy advisor. Good morning to you, Aaron. We'll start with this. Where do negotiations stand right now, and what are the biggest obstacles preventing a deal?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Look, negotiations are designed to achieve a one-page memorandum of understanding. Let's hope it's not a memorandum of misunderstanding, because these negotiations are not being done directly, right? They're being done through intermediaries on cell phones. And if you really want a serious negotiation, the Iranians and the Americans are going to have to get together at some point. The two core issues are the ultimate disposition of the Straits of Hormuz, through which, a fifth of the world's global oil supply, in addition to fertilizer and helium, pass. And number two, what to do about Iran's capacity to enrich uranium and perhaps get to the point where all that is required is a decision to make a nuclear weapon. Both of these issues are going to prove to be incredibly contentious. This memorandum of understanding, even if it's reached, frankly, is going to lead, it would seem to me, if it works, to weeks, if not months, of negotiations on these issues. And I think right now, the Iranians, I would actually give this round, because it is a round. There's going to be no final peace, no transformational relationship between the United States and this regime. I'd give this round probably to Iran.
All right. So President Trump has made it clear that Iran can never possess a nuclear weapon. How central is Iran's nuclear program to all of these talks?
Very. It was ostensibly the reason the president launched this war of choice on February 28th. But look, let's be clear. The Iranians, since 2018, have enriched 11 tons of uranium at varying levels. Even if the president can somehow get the Iranians to agree to a cessation of their enrichment for a specific period of time, he will not be able to undermine, demolish the nuclear infrastructure. And with this regime, which is authoritarian, brutal, and repressive, I think, frankly, the war has only accelerated the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps design to try to achieve the state that I suggested, having all the elements required to make a weapon, with the exception of not making the decision to weaponize. So it's going to be increasingly fraught, not just in the weeks and months ahead, but it'll be the problem for the next administration, and most likely the administration after that.
All right. So supply chain experts say the disruptions are starting to affect food shipments and consumer products. How significant could those impacts become?
A lot. You have millions of people who are plunged into poverty as a consequence of this war. And again, it's, as you pointed out, it's not just oil and hydrocarbons, it's fertilizer, it's helium, it's foodstuffs of varying degrees. The region is going to suffer, Europe next, but I think the real hit is the Asia-Pacific region, where the dependence on oil and supply lines and the inflationary cycle is really wreaking havoc on communities there. And again, I think the one takeaway here, unfortunately, sadly, is that the Iranians have demonstrated they can close the Straits of Hormuz anytime they want, either with a few drones or simply threatening the insurance and shipping companies. If the insurers won't insure, you're not going to get these large tankers through, no matter how secure the U.S. Navy could perhaps make these straits. But that would require a huge expenditure, the deployment of ground troops, several carrier strike groups, scores of American aircraft, and as I mentioned, most likely the deployment of U.S. forces. I don't think this administration or the American public, frankly, wants any of that.
All right. Aaron David Miller with the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thanks so much for having me.